New cards, PogChamp, new cards, PogChamp. So today we got the reveals for a new archetype of cards called Fiendsmith. Fiendsmith are here to rock. This is kind of interesting to me. These cards, I don't know if you guys have seen these cards yet, but they look all right. The first one, Fiendsmith Engraver, can add any Fiendsmith spell trap from your deck to your hand. Lacrima summons back a Fiendsmith and deals burn damage. This is like a super powerful Omni Negate. This is a searcher. I think is going to make light fiends really, really necessary in decks moving forward. Sequentia is a combo enabler. Tractus is a searcher / combo enabler. I have never read this card, and I won't. Same here. And Moon of the Closed Heaven might look like a free agent, but is actually really powerful because it allows any 2 monsters to convert immediately into Requiem, which is the whole line. They're good for sure. I think these cards are good. I think there's not enough for a full deck now, so their power level is going to unfortunately rely on the strength of other strong engines. Will Snake Eye find space in their main deck to play these cards? Truly, who can say? Similarly, the White Forest cards came out today. Now, I think these are supposed to be Diabellstar and Diabells as little baby girls. And then 2 other people who turn into demons. I'm not going to read these cards because of my anti-white politics, but you all know where I stand on these. Next up. Speaking of whites, the advent of Eyes of Blue structure deck makes its thundering descent. Can we get some bats in chat? Okay, so if you're unfamiliar, the Blue Eyes structure deck has sold better than any product in the history of time. They've reprinted it like 7 times at this point. But finally, they're biting the bullet, and they're like, we're going to make a new Blue Eyes structure deck. So they are, and it's going to have new cards in it. First off, let's talk about this woman. I fucking love that they made Maiden with Eyes of Blue doing a Hear Me Out pose. This is so funny. Okay, all right. Blue Eyes Spirit Ultimate Dragon. Boo. All right, 2+ tuners and 1 non-tuner Blue Eyes monster. You can only use the second or third effect once per turn. Your opponent can't banish cards from the graveyard. When a card or effect is activated on the field, negate the activation. If you do, this card gains 1,000 attack until the end of the turn. And if this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, especially light dragon monster from your graveyard, except Blue Eyes Spirit Ultimate Dragon, this card is great. This card's fantastic. There's so many opportunities to play this card, provided that they give the deck the tuners that facilitate it. This is a really good end boss. Super excited about the future of the archetype. It is at the same time comprehensible. It's not ridiculous. I think it really hits the sweet spot of like good enough, but not so broken that it's going to absolutely take over the game. Cracked for Centurion as well. 12s, you know, 12s. Is it cracked for Centurion? It is. It is, yeah. Additionally, there's like a Rada post that I'm not going to bring up right now that I think is really good. It's like it is the case that the design for like the spiritual synchro Blue Eyes monsters is like this ethereal, heavenly, translucent and gold and like a smattering of purples type of a smooth, curvy Blue Eyes, whereas the design for the fusion Blue Eyes is this like mechanical, like blue on white instead of white with small tinges of blue, chunky hexagons and trapezoids and angular shapes. It's cool. It gives them like an identity inside their summoning condition, which I think is really neat. All right. Next up, we have Maiden of White. What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? It looks like that's what she's saying. This is going to be a fun thing to cosplay for other people, of course. You can only use the first, second, and third effect of this card's name once per turn. You can send this card from your hand or field to the graveyard to put a True Light into your spell and trap zone. Insane effect. True Light, already a pretty good card, but hard to find. This is a card that makes it immediately an activatable turn 1. Awesome. Really good. If you special summon Blue Eyes White Dragon while this card is in your graveyard, you can special summon this card. Excellent. And when a card or effect is activated that targets this card on the field, or when this card is targeted for an attack, you can special summon 1 Blue Eyes White Dragon or 1 level 1 Light Tuner monster from your graveyard. So, like Maiden, if you target it or attack it, you can special Blue Eyes, but unlike Maiden, it is only from the grave. Still fine. I can imagine a million scenarios in which you can trigger this effect on your own terms to get a second tuner, and then what do you know? You only need 2 tuners to make Blue Eyes Spirit Ultimate Dragon. Cool card. Really strong. Next up, Prayers with Eyes of Blue. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name once per turn. Discard a card, add a level 1 light tuner, and a spell trap that mentions Blue Eyes White Dragon from your deck to your hand, except Prayers with Eyes of Blue. Damn good card. They have a card that just searches 2 cards. I imagine you're going to get like exactly the card above this, so you can set True Light, and a spell trap that mentions Blue Eyes White Dragon from your deck to your hand. Can you get Bingo Machine Go with this? Because if you can, then you can also just get a Blue Eyes to trigger True Light immediately. And that, of course, summons back Maiden of White, and then you can make Spirit Dragon. You know, Le 1-card combo. That said, you know, really big Ash target to discard a card for cost. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target a Blue Eyes White Dragon you control. Equip a Blue Eyes monster from your extra deck to it as an equip spell that gives it 400 attack. What? Is this Tyrant support? Who cares? Weird. Very strange. Saga of the Blue-Eyed Dragon. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name once per turn, and only once that turn. Special summon a Blue Eyes monster from your deck, graveyard, or banishment in defense position, but you can only special summon Blue Eyes White Dragon with this effect if you don't control it. Also, you cannot special summon from the extra deck for the rest of the turn except dragon monsters, and you can banish this card from your graveyard to fusion a Blue Eyes using monsters from your hand or field as material, including a Blue Eyes. Okay, well, fuck a Bingo Machine Go. This is an incredible spell to search. Wow. The lock is a little frustrating, but not that frustrating because like there's a lot of good dragons that live in the extra deck, not just Blue Eyes. So when I spoke about the new Blue Eyes structure, I said that Blue Eyes is a deck, you know, just by virtue of getting about a decade of support trickled out pretty much 1 or 2 cards in every pack since the 2013 structure, that has the potential to be a playable archetype. And these cards they're close. I'm going to be completely honest. This is pretty much exactly what the deck would need. Like 1-card combos that are endlessly searchable, the ability to actually use a lot of these slower pieces of support like True Light that they've printed over the years. Saga of the Blue-Eyed Dragon is a comedy card. If you're able to get a Blue Eyes on your field because you've opened it with the True Light, you can just special it out. Then you activate this and you can summon Jet or something. Really good stuff. And also, not everything that is in the deck. Allegedly, there are 4 more cards that are going to come out. If they are even remotely good, this could be a contender. I'm super excited for it. I promise I'm not Team Samurai X1 tier 0ing you. I think these cards are actually strong. Next up. Okay, I made a whole video about this one. I'm not going to spend too much time on Mulcharmy Fuwalos. The short of it is this card's crazy. It's really good, much closer in power level to the original Max C than Mulcharmy Purulia was. I expect to see not only like the occasional play in the sideboard that I think Purulia is destined for, but consistent sideboard play until such a time that the metagame so shifts that it is no longer recognizable to us. I think that it also incentivizes decks to invent lines to play around it in a way that Purulia didn't. And I look forward to maybe the rise of powerful, high-impact main deck monsters and cards that are meant to serve as a check back against an opponent who has opened this. 9 Maxis at Worlds for sure. Not true, because we've banned Maxi, so it's not going to be there. Next up. Supercharge the Duel with Raizeol. Okay, so this is a new series of monsters coming out in deck build pack Cock and Balls. Is it? The DBCB? You are kicked out of CBGB's Comic Book Guys Bar. Okay, thrust it through the hole. Thanks, YG organization. Raizeol is a combination of Rai, which is Japanese for thunder, and Zol, a type of mineral that combusts. They're all references to engines. First up, we have Sword. You can only special summon with the 1 effect of this card's name once per turn, and the second effect is also a hard one. So if you have a Raizeol in your field or graveyard, special this card from your hand. If summoned this way, you are locked, except for rank 4 Xyz monsters. And if this card is normal or special, you can add a light Pyro from your deck to your hand. More Pyros. Node Raizeol, same deal. If you have an Xyz monster on your field or in your graveyard, you can special summon this card. And if summoned, you can't special from the extra deck for the rest of the turn except rank 4 monsters. And you can send a card from your hand or field to the graveyard to target a Raizeol in your graveyard except Node, special in defense, but its effects are negated. Ice Raizeol, again, same conditions. You can special summon this card by sending a card from your hand or field to the graveyard. If summoned this way, You can't special summon from the extra deck for the rest of the turn except rank 4 Xyz monsters. If this card is normal summoned, you can specially Raizeol from your deck. Finally, we have Raizeol. Same deal. You can special summon this card by sending a Xyz monster from your extra deck to the graveyard, and if normal or special summoned, and all face-up monsters you control are level 4 or rank 4 monsters, add a Fire Thunder from your deck to your hand. Raizeol. Cannot be normal summoned or set. This is new. Must be first special summoned by shuffling a Raizeol from your hand to graveyard into your deck or extra. It's got the continuous effect that locks you, and once per turn, if this card battles an opponent's monster, send a level 4 monster from your hand or deck to the graveyard, and if you do, this card gains attack till that monster is until the end of the battle phase. Okay, this one is not good. So this is 4 cards that form like a powerful resource loop that just like churns through all 4 of them over the course of one turn. With the payoff of Raizeol Duo Drive. If this card is special summoned, you can attach a Raizeol from your graveyard to this as material. For each material, monsters you control gain 100, monsters your opponent controls lose 100, and during your main phase, you can attach 2 materials from your Xyz monsters and add 2 Raizeols with different names from your deck to your hand, and Raizeol Dead Namer. You can only use the first and third effect of this card's name once per turn. When this card is special summoned, you can add a monster from your graveyard to this card as material. When your opponent activates a card or effect, you can detach a material, target a card on the field, destroy it, and if an Xyz monster you control would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can detach a material from this card instead. These cards are interesting. Let's check the spell traps. Target an Xyz or a Raizeol in your graveyard or in your banishment. Special summon it. Then you can attach a Raizeol from your deck to your rank 4 monster's material. You cannot declare attacks for the rest of the turn except for rank 4s. And target face-up cards your opponent controls up to the number of Raizeol Xyz you control. Destroy them. Then attach a Raizeol from your graveyard to your rank 4 monster's material. Banish this card from your graveyard. Xyz summoning using monsters you control, including a Raizeol. So these are the most effective rank 4 turbo monsters I think we've ever had. I think on their own, they represent somewhere between 2 or 3 rank 4s on your side of the field, and they don't lock you into specific rank 4s. So you can, theoretically, I think you can make Rafflesia and then send this card, which is a hole, which is like really funny. Alan Bershin is a good 4, Chad is pointing out. But I'm sorry, I just can't get excited about this. In a world in which we have Snake Eye boards that are, like I said on Twitter, they're Turing complete functionally, you want me to get excited about a rank 4 strategy. We just went through this with Goblins in a rank 3 strategy. You can give us infinite material for Xyz monsters. If you don't give us sufficient payoffs or you don't give us something to do with them, I'm going to be staring down a board of like Rafflesia and the tribal Raizeols, and I'm like, okay, cool, normal Ash, and it'll beat it. I think this is a really cool archetype to release in like 2017. Like I would consider it then. But right now, not only does it feel immediately dated, the play style feels like it hasn't been something that is reasonable to do in Yu-Gi-Oh! For years. I don't understand. There is, of course, a way to resolve this, and the way to resolve this is, well, what if we banned all the good archetypes? And if that happens, these cards could be good. But outside of that, I don't think it's realistically going to make much of a splash. Unbanned Shockmaster. Okay, that would change things. And finally, 07. Speed Duel products have been paused indefinitely. They could come back. With the release of Speed Duel Battle City Finals, the initial Speed Duel saga we started a few years ago will be concluding. While we are including new content like Noah, Duke, and Tristan, the releases are retreading a lot of familiar ground. Whose fault is that? You make the product! Stop making fucking Battle City! Okay. The product line will be pausing for a rest. As always, Speed Duel cards are legal for TCG play. So this is fine. I think Speed Duel kind of outlived its usefulness after the Battle City box. I think that should have been the last Speed Duel thing. And I'm going to be completely honest with you. I'm fine with where it ended up. It's really frustrating that its release schedule coincided with the end of history insofar as COVID, but it wasn't doing fantastic earlier than that. While I really like Speed Duel and think the gameplay is enjoyable and a marked difference from standard Yu-Gi-Oh!, at the same time, I can't ignore the fact that over the course of the 3 or 4 years that Speed Duel was viable, something like 80% of that time was mired in tier 0 formats, just one right after the other stacked up against each other, from release format Blue Eyes to the Cocoon decks to Twisted Personality, to the Monarch decks, to I'm just gonna attack, to the fucking second time Weevil was responsible for a tier 0. It just is frustrating that its legacy will largely be a bunch of bad formats with cards that make sense. Hopefully this means that we will be getting Rush in the TCG. And, you know, obviously that's not a guarantee at all. And I wouldn't even say is more likely than not. But I would kill for Rush in the TCG. I think Rush is so fucking cool. I think they have proven in the OCG that it has staying power. It's in the top 10 of TCGs over there. Like, they've divided it into Yu-Gi-Oh! And Rush Duel, and Rush Duel's still beating out a lot of competitors. I love the gameplay of Rush. I think that it does a great job at encapsulating what makes Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh!, you know, while still giving you a lower powered environment. And I think the way to get back in, of course, is the Asian English style 10,000 card pack that just introduces a bunch immediately, so we're not 4 years behind the OCG. But we'll see. IDK of top 10 is a flex. Well, that means it's beating what? There's Yu-Gi-Oh!, Magic, Pokemon, Digimon, fucking Shadowverse is big over there, One Piece, Vanguard, Magic, Duel Monsters, Lorcana. So it's beating at least some of those. And Japan also has like a bunch of terrible card games that people play. Like, just look up top card games Japan. They play Weiss Schwartz, you know? They play Future Card Buddy Fight, you know? They play the Final Fantasy trading card game, apparently. Oh, this is helpful. By the way, number 1 is Pokemon, but this is funny. It's like, just to give an idea of how much money Pokemon TCG is bringing in the OCG. Yu-Gi-Oh! OCG plus Duel Masters plus One Piece plus Weiss plus Magic the Gathering plus Battle Spirits plus Shadowverse plus Union Arena is less than Pokemon. Like, combined. And right there, number 10, Rush Duel. Ugh. Rush Duel beating Vanguard in Japan. I mean, come on, man. I don't know how to, like, it could happen.